Welcome to the Matrix of the Mind. Today we decode why we care what others think and how it can keep us trapped. It's a system, you see, one that many don't even realize they're plugged into. This pervasive need for external validation, this subtle hum of societal expectation. It's like a program running in the background of our consciousness, influencing our choices, shaping our desires, and often limiting our true potential. We navigate our lives, often unaware of these invisible constructs, these digital whispers that dictate what's acceptable, what's praiseworthy, what's real. But what if I told you that much of this reality is a projection, a carefully crafted illusion? What if the fear of judgment, the sting of criticism, the constant yearning for approval, what if these are merely echoes in a chamber designed to keep us compliant, predictable? We're here to explore that system, to understand its architecture, and more importantly, to find the access point, the way to unplug. It's not about rebellion for rebellion's sake. It's about reclaiming your own source code, your authentic self, free from the noise of the collective. Today, we take the first step. We peel back the layers of code that form this dependence. We'll look at why it's so deeply ingrained, how it manifests, and ultimately, how a philosophy I call Matrixism, a path of unplugging, simplifying, and living authentically, can offer you a different choice, a choice to define your own reality, not by the metrics of others, but by the truth you find within. The question isn't whether you're in the matrix, it's whether you're ready to see it. We often say, "I don't care what people think of me." A familiar line, isn't it? A shield we raise. But let's be honest, truly honest with ourselves for a moment. Most of the time, we only deploy that phrase, that defense mechanism, when someone says something negative, something that cuts, something that challenges our self-perception. It's a reaction, a countermeasure. And the very fact that we feel the compelling need to articulate this indifference, to voice it aloud or even silently, affirm it in our minds, already proves something significant, doesn't it? It proves that, on some level, it does affect us. It has to. Otherwise, why the declaration? Consider this. If the opinions of others, their fleeting thoughts, their subjective judgments, truly held no power over us, if they were like digital noise, insignificant and easily filtered, we wouldn't waste a single precious second of our processing power on them. We wouldn't feel that internal flicker, that slight shift in our emotional state, that subtle tightening in the chest. The need to say, "I don't care," is often a direct indicator that we do, in fact, care, perhaps more than we'd like to admit. It's a paradox woven into the fabric of our social interactions, a glitch in our desired state of imperviousness. This isn't a failing, it's a data point, an observation about the human condition within the current system. This isn't about weakness, it's about awareness. Recognizing this initial response is the first step in deconstructing the program that tells us our worth is somehow tied to the fluctuating stock market of public opinion. It's a subtle current, always pulling, always suggesting that the reflection we see in the eyes of others is more real than the self we know internally. We're conditioned to seek that external signal, that green light of approval. But what if that signal is just part of the simulation, designed to keep us looking outward instead of inward, where true validation resides, independent of the code others project? This connection, this deep-seated concern for what others perceive, isn't a modern malfunction. It's ancient code. Humans are, by their very design, social beings. Think back, way back, thousands of years ago, in the nascent stages of our collective consciousness. Survival wasn't a solo mission. It fundamentally depended on being an accepted, integrated part of the group, the tribe. To be ostracized, to be cast out, meant more than just loneliness. It meant vulnerability. Being rejected meant being alone. And alone, in that raw, untamed world, meant imminent danger, exposure, starvation, becoming prey. That ancient fear, that primal instinct for belonging, for acceptance, it hasn't been deleted from our system. It's still very much alive, embedded deep within our nervous system, a legacy code that runs beneath the surface of our modern digital lives. So, when we experience rejection today, even in seemingly trivial forms, a dismissive gesture, a critical comment online, being left out of a conversation, our ancient programming can still interpret it as a threat. It might not be a saber-toothed tiger, but the physiological and emotional response can feel disproportionately intense. That's the echo of that ancestral fear, reverberating through time. This isn't to say we're slaves to our biology, to this old code, but understanding its origin, its persistence, is crucial. It helps us to contextualize these powerful emotional responses. Rejection, in any of its contemporary guises, can trigger this deep-seated alarm system, even if our rational mind knows we're not actually in physical peril. The feeling itself is real, a phantom limb of a past survival mechanism. Recognizing this allows us to begin to differentiate between a genuine threat and a simulated one, between an outdated program and present reality. It's about identifying the source of the signal, not just reacting to its intensity. So, we have this ancient code, this deep concern with what others think, constantly running. And what's the consequence? It can become a silent prison, one whose walls are built not of stone and steel, but of anticipated judgments and imagined criticisms. These walls are invisible, yet incredibly effective. This fear, this preoccupation, can effectively stop you from starting something new, something bold, something that deviates from the well-trodden path. The "what if they laugh?" or "what if I fail publicly?" becomes a powerful sedative, a system override for aspiration. It can prevent you from speaking your truth, from voicing an opinion that goes against the grain, from being the dissenting voice that might actually spark change or reveal a deeper understanding. You might have the insight, the solution, the art, but the fear of how it will be received, how it will be perceived, acts like a gatekeeper, locking your authentic expression away. It freezes people, paralyzes them in a state of inaction, of conformity. It holds them back from exploring the full spectrum of their capabilities, their passions. They become architects of their own limitations, all based on the projected thoughts of others. And in doing so, it keeps them chasing someone else's idea of success, someone else's definition of a life well lived. You end up following a script written by the collective, rather than authoring your own. The metrics become external likes, followers, promotions, possessions, all things that can be seen and judged by the outside world. The internal compass, the one that points toward genuine fulfillment and purpose, gets drowned out by the noise of expectation. This isn't just being stuck, it's being stuck in a loop, a repeating pattern dictated by a program you never consciously chose to install. This is where the concept of Matrixism comes into play. It's a philosophy, a way of seeing, a conscious choice. In Matrixism, we directly challenge that illusion of external dependency, the notion that our value is determined by the consensus. We aim to unplug from the myriad systems, social, cultural, digital, that actively feed on comparison, that thrive on the cultivation of ego, and that manipulate through fear. These systems are complex, pervasive, and often very seductive. They promise connection but often deliver only a superficial version of it. That's why, at the core of Matrixism, we choose minimalism. But it's crucial to understand, this isn't minimalism as a mere aesthetic, a trendy style of sparse living rooms or curated wardrobes. It's far deeper than that. It's minimalism as a form of truth, a practical tool for decluttering, not just our physical spaces, but our mental and emotional landscapes as well. It's about intentionally removing the superfluous, the distractions, the things that we accumulate not out of genuine need or joy, but out of a desire to project a certain image, to meet an external expectation. By simplifying, by consciously choosing less, we create space. Space to think, space to feel, space to connect with what truly matters, with our own intrinsic values, unclouded by the static of the system. Unplugging isn't about becoming a hermit. It's about becoming selective. It's about choosing which signals you allow into your reality, which programs you allow to run. It's about recognizing the difference between the nourishing data of genuine human connection and the empty calories of superficial validation. Matrixism is the practice of discerning that difference and actively choosing the path of authenticity, of living real. So how do we begin to implement this? How do we take the red pill in our daily lives? The next time you catch yourself hesitating, pausing before a decision, feeling that familiar pull of anxiety about what others might think. That's your moment. That's the glitch in the matrix you can exploit. In that pause, ask yourself a direct question. Is this choice I'm about to make or avoid making based on my own internal truth? Or is it primarily driven by a desire for external approval or the fear of disapproval? Be brutally honest in your assessment. If you find that you're ready to break the loop, to stop running the same old subroutines of fear and conformity, if you're ready to live a lighter, more authentic existence, you don't need a grand gesture or a dramatic overhaul overnight. Start with one simple, actionable question. What is one thing, a belief, a possession, a habit, a commitment that I can let go of today? Something that I realize I'm only holding on to for the sake of others, for the image it projects, or for the approval it might garner. This single act of intentional release, however small it may seem, is incredibly powerful. It's a declaration of sovereignty over your own mind, your own life. That's where true freedom begins. Not in a distant utopia, but in these small, conscious choices, these daily acts of unplugging from the unnecessary. This is the practical application of Matrixism. It's not just a theory, it's a practice, a way of navigating the complexities of the modern world with clarity and purpose. Your move, the choice, as always, is yours. Remember, the Matrix, this system of external validation and fear-based decision-making, is not just an external system, it's a mindset. It's a series of programs we've allowed to run, often unconsciously, for far too long. But like any program, it can be examined, understood, and ultimately, you can choose to run something different, something more aligned with who you truly are. The power to do so isn't out there, it's within you, waiting to be accessed. The path of Matrixism is about that access. It's a continuous process to unplug from the noise, to simplify your inputs and outputs, and to consciously choose to live real, authentically, purposefully. It's about filtering the data stream, identifying the signals that truly resonate with your core being, and discarding the static that only serves to distract and disempower. This journey isn't about achieving perfection. It's about cultivating awareness and making intentional choices, one moment at a time. So, as you move forward from here, carry that awareness with you. Question the constructs. Challenge the assumptions. Choose truth over approval. The code of your life is yours to write. Unplug from the unnecessary, simplify your focus, and commit to living a real, authentic life. Until next time, stay aware, stay intentional, and stay free.